of people have reached out to me after all the videos that I've been making, encouraging people to join the NHS if they're in the UK on a care visa. After all the videos that I've said time and again to say, the NHS is the place to be. So a lot of people have been reaching out to me on Facebook and everywhere else, on here on YouTube, and they've been asking, what is it that I need to do? Have a look at my CV. Flo, I've been trying time and time again. So I'm just going to talk about a few things that I do feel if we do, we can increase our chances of getting into the NHS and maybe exploring growth, because I'm big on growth, I'm big on career progression. No wonder why I will never get tired of talking about the NHS and all the benefits that there is when you join the NHS. So in this video, I'm talking to healthcare assistants wanting to integrate into the NHS, wanting to explore options whilst in the NHS. So the first thing that I want to address in this video is the fact that people have been reaching out to me and saying, Flo, do I need to have Maths and English? Do I need to have GSCE if I'm to join the NHS? Well, I'll talk about my experience, and I'll also speak on other things that I've had from other people as well that reached out to me. If you just want to be a basic healthcare assistant in any ward, in any general ward that's not specialized, which is one of the things that I always encourage people to do, to start off as just a healthcare assistant from anywhere else, because I mean the job itself is one of those low qualification jobs in this country, in this industry. So I would like to say it's not really a requirement for you to have Maths and English or GSCE. For as long as you are of eligible age, for as long as you can read and write, then you're eligible. And then if you add on your experience in the country and even your experience from abroad, this can increase your chances into getting a role in the NHS as a healthcare assistant. One of the things that I want to address and say is the fact that a lot of jobs now that I see are saying having a care certificate is a requirement. Honestly, when we look at it, a lot of us have been in the country for over a year now. And one of the things that I always say is, by that time, if you're new in the country, if you're new in this industry, one of the things that I do encourage people to do is, by the time that you reach 6 months in this country, you should have done your care certificate in this country. Your 15 standards of care, you should have done them by now. Guys, a big welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Florence. If you're watching us for the first time, I do talk about life in the diaspora. I do talk about opportunities, and mostly I do love to talk about the UK and the healthcare worker visa, skilled worker visa, because that's how I came to the UK all the way from Zimbabwe. I mean, and it's been 2 years that I've been in the country, and I'm sharing my experience, I'm sharing my knowledge, little knowledge that I've had in the past few years, that I do feel my community and other aspiring healthcare assistants, aspiring diasporans can actually benefit from. That's why we are here. So a big welcome, and if you haven't subscribed, please be kind enough to hit the subscribe button, and let's work together. Let's share information, and let's bring to reality the diaspora journey. So guys, I was talking about the care certificate earlier, where I said by the time that you reach the 6-month mark in the country, by that time you should have had your care certificate as a basic bare minimum qualification that you can have in this country. The good thing about the 15 standards of care is you don't really have to go to class. All you need is you can do it as a self-paced training. All you just need will have to be signed off by a competent person. A competent person can be a nurse, a competent person can be your registered manager, your care coordinators, depending on the structure of the organization that you're working for. So this is a self-paced work-based training that you can do and then get assessed and then get signed off. So this is one of the bare minimum requirements that they do look out for when you're joining the NHS. But then there's something that I want to add on of how I got into the NHS. I'm not saying that's what all trusts do, but this is how I got in. So after writing my personal statement, my personal supporting statement and everything else, putting together my application, I put in the qualifications that I had, and by that time the only thing that I had was I had done my Red Cross from Zimbabwe. I had done a few online trainings, so I did put them down in the application, everything that I felt was actually beneficial or could be an added advantage in the application. By that time, I didn't have, I had not been signed off on my care certificate, so it counted as though I had no care certificate at all. So what is it that I'm trying to say here? I'm trying to say some organizations or some trusts, they do say it's an added advantage to say you've got a care certificate. So I'm not encouraging people to actually wait that long until you've had your care certificate and then you apply. I'm just saying apply for as long as you're in this country, for as long as you've got a bit of experience. Just apply. You just never know. Just throw in your name in that hat and you never know. You could be on your way to join the organization. So of course, if you're targeting band 3, if you're targeting band 4, there is need for competence training. You need to have certain competencies for you to be eligible for that, because normally band 3, band 4 is for specialized wards or specialized care. So you need definitely to have a bit of competence training, a bit of in-depth training just beyond the surface. So what is it that I'm saying to people? I'm just saying there are other things that you can do to increase your chances of integrating into the NHS. Other people have been asking me, do I need to have an NVQ of any level, of any sort, for me to be eligible to apply for a care job or for a healthcare assistant or support worker job in the NHS? I did not have the NVQ, but still I got admitted into the NHS. I got a job in the NHS. So it's not a requirement. If you do not have your NVQ, you still can apply for a healthcare assistant job in the NHS. You can still be eligible for an healthcare worker job in the NHS. So it's not written in stone to say you need to have an NVQ. What it does probably is maybe it will increase your chances of maybe getting into the NHS or getting a job over somebody who has got nothing. But it does not. At the end of the day, I'm not saying people should go ahead and enroll for NVQs. If it wasn't in your plans, just apply with whatever that you have. So other people would ask me to say, Flo, so what is it that I need then for me to, increase my chances of being admitted into the NHS? Guys, the best thing, or the whole thing, is on your personal statement. How are you selling yourself? I've been talking to people behind the scenes. I've been saying to people, your personal supporting statement is the place where you're selling yourself, where you're selling your skills, where you're selling what you can bring to the table. So what is it then? Other people are going to ask and say, Flo, so what is it that I need to include in my personal statement? Of course, I've done a video before of how I got into the NHS, but I'll just put in a bit of bits and bobs in this video of what I think one can do to increase their chances of getting into the NHS. So when you are drafting or when you're writing your personal statement, there are certain key areas that you need to address. One of the questions, or one of the things that I do encourage people to do, is you're answering the job description and you're addressing who they want, the qualities that they want in a person that they want to encourage to engage. So what I'm saying is, read through the job description, read through the person specification, and then start addressing that. Start cross-referencing your qualities to what they're looking for. So that should be your guide. Then the other thing is, look at the trust values. What are the values of that trust? How do you fit into those values? How do you match those values? What is it that you can bring that aligns with those values? Go on to address that. The other thing as well, I'm a healthcare assistant and I love this job, and I do believe like the 6 C's of care are a guide, are the healthcare's guide and Bible. So this is your handbook. So as you are writing your personal supporting statement, address the 6 C's of care. How compassionate are you? How caring are you? How committed are you? How courageous are you? How competent are you? Which brings in your training, your online training, your in-person training, and how would that benefit the trust or the department that you're joining? The other thing as well that I want to say is, try and bring about how your communication, be it verbal, be it written, be it non-verbal, be it your written communication, how does that then feed into this role that you're applying for? How is it going to be a benefit to the department or to the team that you're joining? Then of course there are other things that I do want to stress and say, please make sure you maybe tap into those, or maybe you try to integrate them in your personal statement, because I mean, it's 1,500 words. There's so much that you can put in there. There's so much that you can write about yourself in there. So some of these things is, put in your experience. You say, if you have been in the country for 2 years, definitely there's a lot of things that you have learned about the culture, about the English culture, about the British culture, and how then is that a benefit to the people that you're going to be caring for? How is that a benefit to the team that you're joining? The fact that you understand the culture, the fact that you understand the whole dynamics, the whole I don't know, the whole culture as a whole. So how is that going to be a benefit? Because I mean, I've realized it's a whole different ball game when you are just coming to the country, and when then you've had a bit of experience in the country, it's totally entirely different. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please be kind enough to do so, and then we continue these conversations. And if you do feel there are other things that you want me to talk about in future videos, just put it in the comments and let's engage. Share with me your thoughts and what you think as far as this topic is concerned. So some of the things as well that I do encourage people to talk about, some of the things that I do encourage people to address in a personal statement is things to do with if it's the NHS, they're big on diversity. How are you going to fit into the team as a whole? They're big on respect and dignity. Tap into those things, tap into those qualities, tap into, how are you going to be a fit? Talk about how you fit into the teamwork. How are you a team collaborator? The NHS is big on that, because I mean, you work in teams at the end of the day, and for you to achieve the overall goal, you need to be able to work together. Also, some of the things that I do want people to dig deep into are things to do with inclusiveness and respect. I mean, respect for the people that you work with, your team, colleagues, and also respect for the people that you do serve. So these are some of the things that I want people to explore. Be explorative, be creative with your personal statement. One of the things as well that I want to mention is the fact that, yes, I love to use AI, but I love to use it as a guide. Come up with a beautiful story. Put in a bit of you. Put soul in there. You're actually telling a story. You're actually telling whoever is going to read it to say, this is what I am and this is what I'm bringing to the table. So it's your time to shine. It's your time to sell yourself. So there is another question again that somebody said, Flo, do you think it's worth it for me to just join the NHS on a voluntary basis and work for free? They call it volunteer to career pathway. Guys, what it does, I encourage people to volunteer. If you can't get into the NHS directly, please do volunteer. Do not take that for granted, because I mean, I'll share my thoughts, what I think about volunteering. What I think about volunteering is the fact that you as a person, you value the work more than what you get out of the work. So for you, it's not about the money. For you, it's about serving. For you, it's about what you feel for the people that you go and offer service to. So no wonder why I encourage people to say, go on and volunteer. It says more about you, about your character, about your personality, and trust me, there is benefits. The other benefit is when you go and volunteer with the NHS, what it does is you are now part and parcel of the team. So when internal vacancies do come up, you actually apply as an internal applicant, and that can increase your chances of getting hired. And also, one of the things that I say is, if you're consistently volunteering in the same ward, what it does is it increases your chances of that ward really considering you. When they see what you do, when they see what sort of a person you are, they would want to hire you probably on a permanent basis. So it's a good way of getting in there. I mean, and also the other thing that I wanted to mention, it's a question, last but not least, because I meant to make this short. One of the questions that somebody says was that, do you go for a 5-day training with the NHS? Well, I don't know. It could differ from trust to trust, but what my trust did is you book for your training, which you can cancel if you need to. If you can't make it, if you can't make that date, you can actually cancel or reschedule. So you could be working somewhere and then you can't attend maybe a 5-day workshop. You can only know once you've been invited to an interview, once you're now doing a training, that's when you can know. So you cannot stop applying and say, because I can't do five-day training. How do you know if it's going to be 5-day training when you haven't even applied, when you haven't even joined the organization? So one of the things that I can say is join the organization first, apply, get an interview, pass the interview, get invited to all these trainings, and then you can then know how you structure or how you then attend that training. So it's a good chance, guys. It's a good chance. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. I'm big on this. And guys, I think this is all I had for you today. I'll see you in our next video, and thank you for subscribing. Bye.